Imagine, just for a second, a storm that doesn't make a single sound. There's no howling wind, no pouring rain, absolutely no noise at all. Yet, day after day, it's slowly and completely dismantling the foundation of your house. Well, that is exactly what's happening inside your body when you have high blood pressure. It's this relentless, invisible force that literally alters the physical landscape of your internal organs. So let's jump right in and look at the actual mechanics of this hidden storm. To really get this, I want you to picture something we've all seen: watering the garden with a hose. When the water is just flowing nicely out of an open nozzle, everything is great. The hose is built to handle that normal, everyday pressure. But now, imagine someone comes along and forcibly twists that nozzle shut, while the tap at the wall is still cranked wide open. The pressure inside that hose instantly skyrockets. Now, the hose doesn't just burst right away, right? But every single second, those rubber walls are enduring extreme, totally unnatural stress. And that is the exact physical reality of what high blood pressure is doing to your arteries. Now, let's scale that garden hose up to the human body. Every time your heart beats, it pushes blood through a mind-blowing 60,000 miles of blood vessels. Let that sink in for a second. 60,000 miles. That's enough tubing to wrap around the earth more than twice. Your heart is this incredibly powerful pump, and your arteries are supposed to act like super flexible pipes. In a healthy body, with each heartbeat, the blood surges forward, the artery stretches out a bit to handle the rush, and then it relaxes. That natural flexibility, that's the crucial shock absorber protecting all your organs from taking the brunt of that force. Okay, let's dive into this a bit more. Blood pressure is really just the physical force of your blood pushing against those artery walls. Think of it like traffic on a massive, wide-open highway. Everything flows perfectly. But if you suddenly dump way too many cars onto it, or squeeze that huge highway down to just a single lane, what happens? The pressure and the congestion just skyrocket. It's the exact same deal with your blood vessels. Your blood pressure basically comes down to two main things: exactly how hard your heart is pumping and how narrow or relaxed your arteries are. But then, things start to change. Those perfectly stretchy, flexible arteries begin to narrow. And this doesn't just happen overnight by magic, you know? It's usually a combo of things piling up over the years. We're talking about a lifetime of eating too much salt, smoking, dealing with chronic stress, or even just genetics and getting older. Whatever the specific mix is for you, the end result is the same. Your arteries tighten up, and suddenly your heart has a much, much harder job to do. Let's try another quick visualization to really feel what your heart is going through here. Imagine you're blowing air through a regular drinking straw. Pretty effortless, right? Okay, now pinch the middle of that straw and try doing it again. You have to blow incredibly hard just to force a tiny bit of air through. That is the exact mechanical nightmare your heart is facing. To push blood through narrowed arteries, that heart muscle has to squeeze with so much more force. And here's the really wild part. Your blood pressure doesn't just go up for one heartbeat. It stays jacked up for thousands, millions, and eventually billions of heartbeats over the course of years. And you have to remember, your arteries aren't just dead rubber tubes. They are alive, and they actively react to this relentless pounding pressure. The very inside of your arteries is lined with a super delicate layer called the endothelium. When it's getting hammered by the immense force of high blood pressure, it actually starts taking on microscopic injuries. Think about taking a metal paperclip and just bending it back and forth over and over. For a while, it holds up fine, but eventually you start seeing those tiny stress fractures, right? That exact same structural fatigue is happening deep inside your arterial walls. And here's where it gets kind of tragic. Your body's own brilliant defense system actually makes the whole situation worse. Every time one of those micro injuries happens, it sets off an alarm for repairs. Fat, platelets, and proteins all rush in to patch the microscopic tear. But over time, that sticky patch turns into built-up plaque. So the artery narrows even more, which pushes the pressure even higher, and you're locked into this incredibly dangerous, vicious cycle. This endless cycle takes an absolutely massive toll on your organs, and it starts right at the heart. The left ventricle is the main chamber that pumps blood out to your whole body. After years of fighting against that high pressure, the muscle is basically working extreme overtime. It's exactly like a bodybuilder lifting heavy weights every single day. The heart physically adapts by bulking up and getting thicker. Doctors call this left ventricular hypertrophy. Now, at first, that extra muscle actually helps, but eventually that overly thick heart gets stiff and rigid. It literally can't fill with blood properly anymore, which sets you on a direct path to heart failure. But the damage definitely doesn't stop at the heart. It shoots straight up to the brain. The tiny arteries inside your head are incredibly delicate. That constant hammering pressure severely weakens them. Some of these tiny pipes will narrow down, literally starving parts of your brain of the blood it needs to survive. Others get so weak they balloon out. If one of those starved vessels blocks up completely, you have a stroke. If the high pressure causes one of those fragile ballooned vessels to pop, it bleeds directly into the brain. Both of these are catastrophic events that can leave you with permanent, life-altering disabilities. And we absolutely cannot forget about the kidneys. Your kidneys are total workhorses. They filter something like 180 liters of fluid every single day. To pull that off, their filters are made of these microscopic, incredibly sensitive blood vessels. So you can probably guess what happens when high-pressure blood is just rammed through them day after day, year after year. The pressure physically shreds those tiny vessels. Slowly but surely, the kidneys just lose their ability to filter waste. And this happens so silently, often destroying the organ entirely before you even realize something is wrong. The crazy thing is, doctors can actually see this damage happening in real time. The retina, right at the back of your eye, is basically a clear window straight into your vascular system. Years of high blood pressure just ravages these tiny blood vessels. A doctor looking into your eye might literally see that the vessels are aggressively narrowed or actively leaking fluid or even bleeding. It messes with your vision, and honestly, it's pretty common for a routine eye exam to catch severe hypertension before the person even knows they're sick. Which brings us to one of the most dangerous myths out there. I want you to honestly ask yourself, if I feel completely fine right now, does that mean my blood pressure is normal? It's totally human nature to link pain with being sick, right? We just assume that if our body is getting damaged, it's going to send us a loud, clear signal to stop and fix it. Well, unfortunately, when it comes to blood pressure, the answer to that is a hard, terrifying no. High blood pressure almost always has zero symptoms, none. There's no pain, no check engine light flashing on your dashboard, you don't feel sick at all. Yet while you're just going about your day, feeling 100% fine, the physical damage to your arteries, your heart, your brain, and your kidneys is continuing every single minute. That right there is exactly why the medical world gave hypertension its really grim nickname, the silent killer. Now sure, eventually some people might get physical symptoms. We're talking severe headaches, blurred vision, maybe some chest pain, shortness of breath out of nowhere, or getting really dizzy. But we need to be crystal clear about what those symptoms actually mean. They are almost never early warning signs. By the time you're actually feeling these things, it usually means significant organ damage has already started, or your blood pressure has spiked to a dangerously, immediately life-threatening level. Relying on symptoms to tell you if you have high blood pressure is literally like waiting for your house to collapse before you decide to check for termites. So what do we do? How do we fight back? Well, blood pressure meds are actually fascinating because they don't just magically tweak a number on your chart, they physically jump in to reduce the mechanical force that's hammering your arteries. Different medications attack the physics of the problem from different angles. Some tell your blood vessels to just relax and open up, others tell your kidneys to dump extra fluid, or they slow your heart rate down, or they block stress hormones. There are a bunch of different tools, but they all share one critical goal: protecting your internal organs from getting physically destroyed. But listen, medication is only half the battle. You have an incredible amount of power to change the physics of your own circulatory system every single day. Exercising, cutting back on salt, getting enough sleep. These aren't just fluffy wellness tips. These are deliberate physical actions that immediately take the crushing workload off your heart and arteries. Keeping your weight in check, eating your fruits and veggies, keeping the drinks to a minimum, and kicking tobacco entirely, all of these directly lower the pressure inside your system. So the really important takeaway here is this. Next time you go to the clinic and the nurse straps that cuff onto your arm, I want you to understand what's actually happening. They aren't just writing down 2 random numbers for your file. They are checking the pressure gauge on that garden hose. They are asking urgent, systemic questions about everything going on inside you. Is this heart working way too hard right now? Are these kidneys quietly feeling? Is this person unknowingly walking straight into a massive stroke? Those 2 little numbers tell a huge life or death story. Let's bring this all together. Hypertension is never just having high blood pressure, like it's some vague, abstract concept. It's a very real, very physical condition where every single time your heart beats, it hits your blood vessels with way more raw force than human evolution designed them to handle. Day in and day out, that relentless force remodels your entire body. Your heart thickens up, your arteries get stiff, your kidneys slowly fail, and your brain is left totally vulnerable. And honestly, the most chilling part of the whole thing is that this massive physical transformation, this literal breakdown of your body's infrastructure, can be happening while you feel completely 100% healthy. That is the true danger of hypertension. It's not dangerous because it's loud, it's dangerous because it operates in total, absolute silence until the damage is already done. So the question is, now that you know exactly what is happening right beneath the surface, what steps are you going to take today to quiet the storm inside your own body?